What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you enjoyed your 3-day weekend if you are watching from the US, which is why, obviously, I didn't make any videos. We were with friends and family over the weekend, and in all honesty, we knew nothing was really going to happen. And as you guys could see here, we basically just went sideways. But is this actually the calm before the storm? Because if you'll pay attention to the levels that we're consolidating at right now, very boring, very slow, this is exactly the previous all-time high for Bitcoin. Remember, we didn't actually go up officially to 20,000. Everyone said 20,000, but really it was more in the range around 19,800, 900, kind of where we're hanging out right now, right? So there are a few things that I want to talk about. There are some major events coming up this month. Now, guys, we do know that historically speaking, September is generally not that great of a month, really, for Bitcoin, right? Historically, it actually is the most bearish month, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Plus, we have CPI report coming out, the Ethereum Merge coming out. We also have the FOMC, right? The Fed is going to step back in this month and possibly raise rates higher once again. So there is a lot of things that could be brewing in this potential calm before the storm that I want to talk about, but there are also some amazing opportunities to make some money along the way. And I am going to talk about that in this video, but there are still a few red flags we have to go over. So welcome back, smash the likes. Happy to see you guys. If you're excited for today's video, let me know. Like I said, it's pretty calm right now, but I do think that we are going to see some very volatile movements pretty soon for Bitcoin. So if that sounds good to you, get subscribed. Let's dive in. Let's have a look at the chart. So as you guys can see right here, we are still consolidating and finding that support temporarily, at least for now, on this wedge where it intersected, right? You can call them spider lines. It was a falling wedge, but ultimately right here, we are finding that area. And it's actually crazy the amount of confluence that we're having on this area, because if you look right here, look at where we are seeing that level right there. And if we go back, what do we have? Well, we have this consolidation obviously right here, right? Back in 2020. But what was the significance of that? Well, go way back. And guys, look at exactly where we are consolidating right now. Look at this. If I actually drag this all the way out, right? Look at the price above my head. This is a live price changing right now. 19,808. Look at exactly where we had that peak right there in the 2017 bull run. So we are just having the bulls really desperately attempt to defend this previous all-time high for Bitcoin right here, right? And I mean, if we just, get rid of everything right now and just go to like the weekly, you could see that, let me show you guys a little closer. I mean, look at where we are consolidating. This is crazy, right? But do remember, though, that I did explain to you that this isn't actually the most important level, right? Because obviously, if we do go to these monthly closes, you do see really the significant level is down here. But I don't want to freak anyone out and get too bearish. On the short term, what we're looking at right here, essentially, is we were inside a bear flag. Really, ultimately, that's what this was, right? We came off a move to the downside. We consolidated in a parallel channel to the upside, and we fell. But what's interesting is the last few times that we were actually in these types of patterns, right, these bear flags, we saw much larger dumps, right? Much larger dumps. You could even say that maybe this was a continuation of this one right here, right? We haven't seen that yet. We are being held by that previous resistance flip support. So how long can that actually hold? How long can the the bulls actually keep supporting that level? Well, as we've gone over on the channel, we have, I've lost count of the indicators. Almost every single indicator that we have is virtually saying that the bottom should be in and that we should be looking for a major reversal, right? But the problem is that all of these indicators that we have been using, which in the past have been very helpful for calling these bottoms, have really only ever seen a stock market bull run, right? It was birthed out of the 2009 financial crisis. So that is the little bit of concern. But Nevertheless, guys, there are always opportunities for trading. Now, if we do end up breaking, and I'm putting my level down here at around 19,473, only because that's this little bit of consolidation right here, then we do honestly risk going back down, putting in a giant double bottom at around that $17,600 area. But remember, that ultimate area could still be around 13,800. So that's kind of like on the, short side. On the long side, you want to get back inside this channel. Right now, we're just treading in no man's land. What you would need to do is get back inside of this channel, preferably at this point, because remember, the more the time goes by, this slope keeps going to the upside, right? So as we wait longer and longer to get back into that trend, now you have to go higher, right? So at these levels today, you would need Bitcoin to break and hold pretty much above around $21,775. Now, if we did break and hold and close above that, then I would, in fact, potentially look to go into re-enter the long position. So if you guys do want to trade, make sure you check out the tutorial popping up above. And just to let you guys know, I actually reached out to BitGet and they allowed us to up the bonus to $8,000. So if you haven't signed up yet, definitely check out the link below in the description. You can always just enter the code NYNL. You'll also get that $8,000 bonus. But, and if you already got the previous bonus, I don't know, maybe you have another email you can enter with that email and you can up your bonus. So I just want to let you guys know that we have now an $8,000 bonus for BitGet. So make sure you guys take advantage of all of those. There's over $16,000 below in the description, right? But we were talking about this trend line and a few different things. Somebody reached out and asked me if I can adjust this line. I'd be happy to, for sure. But the one thing I wanted to point out, as you could see, we had taken this wick right here, which is not really the greatest way to, draw trend lines, but I'm kind of going like to the ultimate extremes. And even in the situation we have right here, we are still unfortunately sitting below it, right? So I just wanted to point that out. But there is something different I wanted to talk about. Oh, and somebody also asked if I, move, if I move the trend, up to here, well, then we've obviously completely broken it, if we go to this level right here. But really what I want to show you guys is a longer view of this trend. And actually, if we go back even farther, okay, if we take it all the way back here from this monthly candle close that we had in June of 2011, and I'm not going to the top of the wick because remember, as I told you, the most important area really wasn't that $20,000 top. It was actually that $13,800 monthly close that we had up here. Well, the same thing would go for right here, right? If you wanted to extend this out, you would say that that was the most significant level, right? Like, because we had the close, you could do the same thing right here. You could say that was the most significant level. You could do the same thing here. You could say, that was the most significant level, right? But anyway, getting back to my point, I just want to show you this trend line. So if we actually do take this trend line, it's had this right here. It's had support essentially all through here. During the COVID crash, we wicked down to it. So this is a lot of touches on this line, guys. And right now, if we actually look at what we're doing, currently, we are still sitting above it. So that would tell us that if we were to fall down to that line, that would actually put us at around $18,400, which would actually be a higher low and could ultimately, let me go back on the lower time frame to show you guys this, could ultimately, be putting in that double bottom, right? So that's like a bit of the hopium for the day, a little bit of hopium. Now, something that does scare me, and I have to be realistic because I don't want to be too bullish and I don't want to be too bearish. But what I do want to show you, let me just turn off all the drawings here and let me go to the yearly candles. So, these are the yearly candles for Bitcoin, all the candles in Bitcoin's history. Now, we've gone over this, right? But you could see that obviously, we tend to go few green, red, 3 green, red, 3 green, red. We're seeing a pattern emerge here, but something we've never seen before is a red candle that falls below the green candle. This is something known as a bearish engulfing candle. You could see right here. And essentially what happens is it either has to open higher than or exactly at the close of the previous candle. And if it closes below it, that is very, very bearish and often, says that there's going to be a major trend shift in the overall market. Now, the bright side is that we're still only in September. We still have October, November, December, right? Until really the end of the month, January 1st, we get that new candle. Anything can happen. And we could end up getting something like this, right? Where we come down and then come back up, come down and then come back up, right? But this would be a first for Bitcoin. And that is something technically that is a little bit scary, right? So I just wanted to point that out. Nothing to freak out about immediately. We have until the end of the year for this candle to go the other way. But as of right now, this would be the first time in Bitcoin's history that we've actually ever seen something like that. So you got to take the good with the bad, right? So that's what I wanted to mention today. Now, having a look over here, I'm not saying to get bearish. I'm not saying to sell your Bitcoin. Honestly, I'm not saying anything because it's not financial advice on this channel. But this was an awesome infographic that came out from Whale Map, and they said right here, someone cashed out 5,000 Bitcoin yesterday, making $95 million from this investment down here, buying around 5,000 Bitcoin at the absolute $698, well, basically almost the top of the 2013 market. So the funny sort of part about this is that they bought the top, okay, in 2013, and they've sold the bottom, essentially so far, of 2022. And just simply by holding for that period of time, they were able to make I can't even do this math in my head right now. It's an astronomical percentage, whatever it was. So just goes to show you that long term, Bitcoin is certainly the place to be, right? But short term, we have a lot of issues, a lot of things that people are worried about. But you can see right here, data retrieved from Finbold ROI indicated that Bitcoin's 5-year return on investment has outperformed the stocks of 5 leading banks at an average of 550%. And you can see down here, even on its lowest end, Bank of America is only 369.75%, Citi 839.17. So in that case, then yes, you still did want to be in Bitcoin for the long term. And, as you can see right here, buying Bitcoin at the all-time high, in 2013, and then, waiting 11 years, essentially, did I do that math right? No, not 11 years, 9 years. I'm sorry, guys. Then look at that percentage gain. Insane. Like, can somebody do the math? Somebody do that math. If you bought 5,000 Bitcoin for $698, what would that be? And then if you sold for 95 million, what is the profit on that? I don't feel like busting out the calculator right now. Plus, I'm just kind of curious. It's got to be an insane amount. But getting back to this is something that is a little bit concerning. This is the lowest level we have seen the Bitcoin dominance essentially since January of 2018. Now, January of 2018, I don't know if you guys remember this, that was really the last run for the market. Okay, if you go back in the charts, what we saw in 2018, the beginning, January, right? So we had Bitcoin topping in 2017. Bitcoin started to fall. Everybody tried to get those last exit pumps in, right? They rushed into the altcoins. The altcoins went absolutely bananas, right? And then the entire market crashed. And what ended up happening was everyone sold their altcoins and went back into Bitcoin. And you can see Bitcoin came all the way back up to this level right here of almost 71% Bitcoin dominance. So we're back at that level again. Now, while this might be good for Bitcoin, it may not be good for the price of Bitcoin if we do have those fake out altcoin rallies. Now, have we been seeing them recently? Well, obviously the Ethereum Merge, a lot of people are getting excited. You are seeing some people switch over to Ethereum. They're speculating. Huge possibility, very strong possibility. But we're also seeing coins like Luna Classic pumping down here from the bottom. And I'm sure nobody bought down here, but from bottom to top, guys, that is a 1,000% increase in Luna Classic. Why? What is the significance of Luna Classic? Why is Luna Classic pumping? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And when you're seeing these types of pumps in crypto, it's a little bit concerning, right? Like, who's using the Classic chain? I don't know, but it's just a little bit weird to me. Same thing with Ethereum Classic. Who really uses Ethereum Classic for anything? And now that Ethereum is moving to a new chain, this thing from bottom to top right here, where we are, pumped 238% essentially just since June of this year. Why is Ethereum Classic pumping? Maybe you know something I don't. Doesn't really make sense, does it? Nobody really uses this chain. So you're starting to see like this meme stock mentality happening in crypto as Bitcoin goes sideways, which is really scary because, just to point out the last time that Bitcoin really bored the heck out of everybody, let me, go back to the daily, I guess, for this one. We come all the way back here, right? And this is, you see how boring this was? This is when they said Bitcoin was bottoming out. And we literally just went sideways. It was so boring, right? And then 50% crash. And then guess what? We went sideways again, crashing November 18th all the way until April. Crazy, guys, crazy. So, they say that capitulation is the bottom, but really probably boredom is the bottom. And, we are seeing a lot of boring price action right now. And that always does insinuate that it could be that kind of calm before the storm, right? Now, the good news is that the Bellatrix hard fork has been active on the beacon chain for Ethereum, so this is good. So only the Paris event remains before Ethereum switched to proof of stake. So it was actually nice to see that did go as planned, and the merge is still expected to happen between September 13th and September 15th, which I'll get to in a minute about the significance of that date. But something really, really interesting is we've been hearing about the Ethereum flippening for quite some time, right? Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin. It's never happened yet, but could this be the time it actually does happen? Well, you could see that Ethereum actually bounced very nice on its Ethereum versus Bitcoin lows right here and is currently attempting to push on this very legacy resistance right here, which you can see we've only been above twice ever in its history. Now, the highest we ever had, Ethereum right up here, was 0.15 for Bitcoin. Now, in order to become the exact price of Bitcoin, Ethereum would have to become 1 Bitcoin, right? So currently 1 Bitcoin is, sitting around 19.8, whatever that is. So to become 1 Bitcoin, Ethereum would have to, essentially pump, wow, a lot higher than this actually. Ethereum would essentially have to pump to become the price of Bitcoin, about 1,260%. But that is not how we measure market caps, right? That's just the price. That's just the dollar amount. Crypto, the way that, these things work is based on the market cap, right? So it's the overall supply versus the price of the basically last time that token was bought or sold, right? Very oversimplifying it, but essentially that's how we find the price of an asset. So if we actually come over here and look at that, even though Ethereum is only $1,600. Ethereum does not have to go to $19,700 in order to overtake Bitcoin, because you can see right here, the market cap of Ethereum is around 198 right now, whereas Bitcoin is sitting at around 377. So it's actually more than half the market cap of Bitcoin right now. Pretty crazy times we're living in, guys. So let me know what you think about that. Do you actually think that the Ethereum flippening is actually possible for Bitcoin? Now, there is a lot of speculation in the background about, these energy crises that they're having globally, especially over in Europe. And, will they end up, banning proof of work or, moving over to just Ethereum because it's ESG friendly? Will Bitcoin be forgotten? Personally, I don't think so, but it is that fear that is being spread right now. And if a lot of these investors do all move into Ethereum, that becomes their cryptocurrency of choice because of its utility, smart contracts, DeFi, etc., then it is possible to flip Bitcoin. I don't see it happening. And if it does happen, I don't see it happening. Like, for example, if it happens this cycle, I don't see it lasting. I think it would still need a second cycle to really seep in. I think it would be a lot of just mania and exuberance personally. But I'm not going to say it can't happen. Personally, as far as the buy the rumor, sell the news for Ethereum is concerned, it may have a little bit of a dump, but I do think Ethereum is going to continue to perform relatively well compared to other assets, right? So obviously if stocks are falling and Bitcoin's falling and the DXY is pumping, then no, Ethereum's not going to pump to the moon, but it may outpace or even be a decent hedge compared to a lot of the other coins, which, let's be honest, a lot of them are down about 90%, 99%, some of them even right now. So if you do want to hold, Ethereum, you can hold it on an exchange. A lot of exchanges are going to do the swap for you. Personally, I would put it on my ledger. I would get a Ledger Nano S if you don't have one. That way you have your own keys. You definitely will have the chain. And if there is that hard fork, right? We don't know if they're going to do this or not. They might, they may continue to, some of the miners may want to fork it. And then now there's 2 Ethereum coins. And, this has happened with Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Ethereum Classic, Ethereum, right? Luna, right? Luna's pumping right now. You got 2 coins. So there's always an opportunity to potentially make some money just by holding it, right? If you do want to do the swap, though, they are doing it over on FOMC. They can do the ETH to ETH, proof of work versus proof of stake. Check that out if you're interested. There is like $4,000 in bonuses for them as well. But ultimately, I would just, put it in your own hardware wallet. But if you don't feel comfortable, then, not your keys, not your coins. But there is an opportunity that if they do decide to fork, that you will get 2 coins and you'll be able to sell the one that you don't want, essentially for like totally free profit, right? So I think that's why a lot of people are in fact holding a lot of ETH right now as well. But like Crypto Cred pointed out, we have the merge, we have CPI, the FOMC, all roughly within a week of each other, the 13th to the 21st of September. So if you're not comfy in your positions now, you might be worth waiting for those headlines to unfold and set the tone for the coming weeks, months. Sloppy execution plus liquidations into news equals good opportunities, right? So that may be why the markets are kind of just stalling out right now. This could be the calm before the storm. We may not see any major moves until we have all of this data and we truly understand where we're headed towards the end of the year into next year, right? And, the other thing, we had, this really bad candle, giant wick from the top, looked like the dollar was going to finally roll over. Zooming back over here. Let me go to the weekly. It's a lot easier to see. You will see that we are hitting our zone right here. This is the top of our channel. This is basically the highest level for the DXY. If the DXY does continue to pump out of this, that's going to be explosive, just so you guys know, because now we're just shattering all of the resistances for the DXY. So short term, that would be very bad for Bitcoin, most likely. But long term, it would be an amazing opportunity, like literally the opportunity of a lifetime to buy Bitcoin. For anyone that feels like they got in late, for anyone that feels like they just never got on the boat or you don't have enough Bitcoin, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you buy, even if it's your own blood, right? That's the saying, and it's true, but it's emotions, right? When your portfolio is down 70%, you bought too high, you're scared. You don't want to lose anymore. You don't want to buy at these levels, right? But we had people throwing everything they had into Bitcoin, 40, 50, 60, 70,000. And now that we're back at the previous all-time high from 2017, people are scared to buy. This to me is an opportunity of a lifetime. I have been accumulating at these levels, and I do have more buy orders down at the bottom, which is why you always want to keep a little bit of cash on the side. Sit in a stable coin, and if you buy into crypto, and what you do is you just maybe put 50%, not financial advice, just like what you could do. You figure out your own risk management. But, you can go in 50%, or if you buy Ethereum, you can do 30% Bitcoin, 20% Ethereum, and 50% USDC, and just sit in that, right? And have buy orders. And that way, if it pumps, right? Okay, great. That's awesome. You have exposure. You own Bitcoin and you own Ethereum. But if it dumps, you have cash to either dollar cost average lower or, buy a potential massive capitulation crash. No one knows what's going to happen. So, always keep a little bit on the side. And, I don't know what everyone's getting paid every week, but like I said, a little percentage here, a little percentage there, never put more than you can afford to lose. And you sleep a lot better at night. And then that way you don't have to worry about timing the exact bottom, timing the exact top, your dollar cost averaging. And ultimately you are buying the bottom because you are averaging in. And, 5, 10 years from now, do you think these prices are going to matter if you bought at 12 or 20 or 30? I don't think it's going to. When we have a Bitcoin at 400 or 500,000 in a decade, right? Eventually, they are going to have to turn the money printer back on. So yeah, again, if you guys see here, really very indecisive day for the SPX. Not really much to talk about that. And not really much going on over here on the market cipher. We did get a little bit of manipulation. Of course, we did get the green dot, which has been a historic buy signal for bottoms. But again, we are in a different climate, right? Historic bottom right here, we got the green. Historic bottom right here, we got the green. Potential historic bottom? We don't know yet, guys. Time will tell. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. And you guys know if you do want to get Market Cipher, make sure you check the link out below in the description. Awesome indicator if you are doing a lot of heavy trading, especially in the trends. I highly recommend you guys check that out. But ultimately, that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you guys appreciated the update today. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to go over. We hadn't made a video in 2 days, so I just felt there were a lot of things we needed to discuss. There are some potential bullish scenarios and catalysts. Unfortunately, right now, there's more bearish things happening globally, with everything happening. And I want to actually do an update. I think it's too much for today's video. I want to talk about what's going on in Europe right now and what could happen with them if they start getting hawkish and how that could affect the dollar. Because don't forget, the DXY is essentially a basket of currencies against the dollar. And if Europe does start going through with some of the things that they may be doing, they may be talking about, then how would that affect the dollar? How would that affect us? How would that affect what the Fed has to do moving forward? That's what we're going to discuss in a later video. So make sure you get subscribed. You don't want to miss out on that. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. And make sure if you are looking to trade, September, not the greatest month, but if you are, check out these videos popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto, take advantage of those bonuses, and of course, peace out.